Well, we are going to continue working on this combine. We have a new belt guide. It was like $450 for this guy. And the reason why I wanted to replace it is because the slide grooves and the mounting spots on this are egged out, and you really can't weld anything on there because of where it has to mount to, and that kind of has to slide up and down with that arm for the grain unload. So we went ahead and replaced this. But before we put that on, I have to put the pulley assembly on the back side of that guy there. I don't know, I probably didn't have to take that off, but I did anyways. I didn't think I was going to be able to get that pin out for the cylinder that hooked to that bracket, so we ended up taking it and unbolting the pulley. So we're going to have to get the pulley back on there, and then we can get our shroud on that. I have new sprockets to go on the tailings auger. I actually went and picked this up yesterday on Sunday. This came in late Friday afternoon over to Kaz. They won't end up delivering anything to us until Wednesday. I went and picked this up yesterday along with the sprockets for the tailings auger. Today is actually Christmas Day. So we are going to get after it. We'll get that bolted on there, get our sprockets on, and then we can open up our liners, see what they look like, get them in the bin, and get that done up. Well, we've got our new sprockets on there, and we've got our panels that go in under the augers out of the box. However, they don't reach all the way across the bin. They're about 20 inches too short. So I had to order another one of these, and then we're just going to cut 20 inches off of it. We've got some AC lines off of it, and we're going to get into talking about that here in a second. Jared's been working on this cat engine, and he is ready to lift the head off now. What do you think, Tim? Got an idea how that's going to come off? Yeah? Huh. Yeah? Ah.
Oh, wait, you had chain in it. It might come off like that. I don't know.
Nah.
No?
Not with two chains on there.
Two chains? Oh, a motor mount on there. Hell yeah. Head mount, whatever you want to call it. Got a dowel in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. Got a dig there. Go ahead and try it now.
That head bolt's still over there a little.
Good, this cylinder's got some weird wear, but a lot of wear. Still got the yellow paint on it.
Well, looks like this one had a lot of blow-by.
Don't look bad, just worn. That's what this thing is, just pretty much worn out. Got a lot of miles on it, worn out.
How many miles?
Or did something go kooky?
Huh. Alright, so everybody has gone off to doing different jobs here now. They were just happened to be in the shop when Jared went to lift this head off of there. Jared does have another head upstairs in a crate. It's actually right there underneath that box fan. So he's going to put that in the scrap pile. Now, on this combine, We had some air conditioner lines that ran along the side of the grain bin, and there was a spot, they had a bad spot in it, just right where it come around the corner. So we took those off. We're gonna get new ones to put on there. When I took the suction line off of the actual compressor, it stripped out the manifold, which is common. The manifold was like $270, and a new compressor with the manifold was $440, $170 more. So I ended up buying a new compressor. New compressor, new lines that we have to put on there. I'm supposed to get this additional panel here today. We're gonna get these in there, get them tacked down, get our additional panel cut, 2 20-inch sections out of it, and then lay it in the bin and weld it down. The panel comes over and it is held down with a couple of the carriage bolts that hold the sump down. Now this material is stainless steel. There's a magnet on the end of this flashlight, and it of course does not stick to it. It sticks to the rim, but it doesn't stick to this material because that is stainless. So we've got the inside of the bin primed. I don't know if I described that earlier on in this video or the prior video, but we've got that primed just so that there wasn't bare metal underneath the liners, because that would just rust out. So we're going to take up our bolts in the bottom of the bin, slide our liner in, slide it underneath the bolts, tighten that down, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to weld this down first or wait till I get the other pieces in there and then do all the welding at once. So we'll go ahead and take up our bolts and then slide both the front and the rear liner in. John Deere's thinking must be that, you know, all of the material is going to come this way and you're going to have more wear on this side of the bin than you are on the other side. However, we do have some wore out spots and some stress cracks in the other side of the bin. Now, I had a couple of you mention, you know, why don't you just get the plastic liners to put in there? If the combine was brand new, that's when you put the plastic liners in. However, this bin is real thin in the bottom, and I feel that the stainless is going to add some strength to it. The plastic's not going to add that much strength to the bottom of the bin. So that's why we have gone to a steel liner opposed to using a plastic liner. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get these in there, and we'll show you what things look like when we get a little farther along here. All right, we have our liners setting into place and bolted down on this left side. So we'll just kind of show you what it looks like from this side, which you can't see much. We'll go ahead and jump up on in the bin, and we'll show you what this looks like from here. Now we've got to take this compressor, air conditioner compressor off as well, and we've got to get a new one. So let's go ahead and climb on down in here. Alright, so we're down inside the bin, and we've got the left side underneath of the carriage bolt fasteners. You can kind of see that there. And then of course we've got to come across the leading edges there on the top and weld that all down into the bin. Now we lack about 20 inches or so here. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take up some of these panels off of this bin, so when we do actually put our pieces in, we can have it fit underneath those supports for the auger assembly. But on this right hand side, you can see that hole that is starting to appear in the floor, and that's another reason why we want to, oh, can you see that? Yeah, I think you can see that. Another reason why we want to put an actual piece of metal in here. So the reason why they have these panels a little shorter than needed is because of this stuff that is bolted to the floor of the bin. They figured that certain guys probably wouldn't be able to maneuver around that, but we've got a couple of options as far as we can either cut the material out to match around that, or we can just take that stuff out and then drill down through this stainless steel. So what we have here now is we have our panel off the back of the bin, and we can see the front side of the motor, or the left side of the motor, and we need to pop that compressor off. So we got 3 bolts to take out. We've already got the serpentine belt taken up loose. We'll pop that guy out of there, and that can go in as a core. So just a couple of bolts to take out, and we'll get that off of there. Alright, so we've got our panels all bolted down. Our air conditioner compressor, we ended up taking that off. And I just got the 3rd panel that we're going to need to finish this job. I did not know that these panels are about 20 inches too short. So I've got this one here all marked out, and we're going to set this little piece in here on that front section. We do need to unbolt that support. That is for the bubble up auger. We're going to unbolt that, set this piece in, get it marked out. We've got a couple of holes to drill into it, and then we need to cut a piece for the back trough as well. Sarah's up in there right now welding the panels down. She's got the front section tack welded, and now she is just working across the stitches, going down through all that panel. So she is right there tack welding them in, pushing it down, and moving along very, very nicely. So let's go ahead and get our panel cut. We'll jump up in the bin, show you what that all looks like as far as removing that support. Then we're going to have to punch a couple of holes. I don't know if there's 2 holes or 4 holes, 2 and 2, or just 1 and 1, I can't remember. But we're going to go ahead and cut this with the plasma cutter. Being that this is stainless, it is almost impossible to cut it with oxygen or acetylene torches, or oxygen and propane. You almost need to use the plasma cutter, else it'll just, it gets all goofy like. So let's go ahead and get this cut, lay it into place, and get our holes going in there and get it plunked down. We need to get this job done. This has been in here way too long. We've had other jobs that we've kind of been going back and forth on. Jason has had truck 14 in here working on some lights. I haven't really been any part of that. But you can hear the pressure washer making lots of noise out here. And Jared, Christian, and Nate have been doing some heavy duty maintenance on the spreaders, and they had the frac tank here. They ended up replacing the load boom up on it here. And they've got some work that they need to do to this 6,000 gallon tanker. What do you say there, bub? Nice day to be washing, huh? Nice 50-degree weather up on in here. Yeah. So I didn't have the pressure water, I didn't have the camera out at all when they had the 8,500 gallon tank, but they ended up putting all new hoses on, coming down to the injectors, and he also replaced the manifold that's on that, and they ended up putting a new hose coming off of the tank coming down to the manifold. Nate got in that 8,500 gallon tank here the other day. He cleaned the whole inside of it out. The agitation wasn't working the way it was supposed to, and he had to rinse quite a bit of sand out of it. Blasting it right off of now. We're gonna get dirty if we stand here too long. So, yeah. All right. Alrighty, so we have the bolts removed from these panels on this right hand side. We'll pull this guy up off of there. She's tacking in the rear panel. So now what we want to do is we want to put the piece that we cut, we want to set that in there, and then we want to mark our holes. We'll take it down, get the holes put into place so that the bolts can go back in the floor. Then on this back side, what I'm going to do is I am going to remove that little hold down plate. And I'm going to remove that with a grinder. And I think I'm going to cut a little bit off of the top side, and that panel, well, actually I discussed with Sarah, we were going to put a couple of bolts in there and drill down through. Use this stainless panel to hold that piece of sheet metal down, kind of like what that welded plate is doing. We should just about be able to leave the top edge. Maybe we'll take a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch off and then run a bolt down through it. We probably should have put this up over the top of it or cut that off. But that's what we're gonna do there. So she's tacking the back sheet down just like she did with this front piece. She's got the front piece more or less all stitched into place, and then she'll get this back one welded in, but we've got to do a little fabrication. Alright, we are actually into the next day, and we have a little interruption here. We're finally getting around to switching the pipe on the chopper. We've got the chopper sitting outside the door here. We just lifted the pipe off of it, but back when I washed the chopper, one thing led to another, and then about the time we got done with it, we didn't have the telehandler because we had to put that axle back into it. And here we are. We're switching this around here today. So we have to take the deflector off the long spout, put it on the short one. You've seen us do this before. We can't use the long spout for hay because this long spout, see how this has got that cutout in it? This long spout comes right up to here and you've got this much extra area. That doesn't really have an air dam in it, and this long one will plug on hay. Ask me how I know, right, Sarah? So what we're going to do is we are going to take the chopper over to Kaz here in a couple hours, and we're going to switch it with the 9560 and the 8320. We had some upgrades done to the corn planter. They've got that done, and we're going to pull them 2 items home. The roads are wet, but the roads are washed off with salt. We'll get back on the combine here after we get this spout switched, and then we'll work on that for a while. And then we'll go on a little road trip, right, Sarah? You all excited to go on a road trip?
So excited.
Yeah. The trouble with doing these jobs like this combine, it takes forever because there's other jobs that we have to do in between times, and waiting for parts, that kind of slows you down a little bit, and it kind of takes your ambition level and it throws it down a peg or two. So this has been in here way too long. I'm really anxious just to get this out of here. We've got a couple of other big jobs to do. One of them we are going to do to the chopper. However, Kaz is going to do that. We've got some upgrades that they're going to do to that as well. We just need to have this spout changed over. And yeah, we better get to working on this, right? Got a couple of bolts that won't fully come out.
This one and this one won't.
All right, we're going to have to get after them. So you put the breaker bar on it, whack that breaker bar with a hammer. Or you could put a pipe on it, or a cheater. So, all right, I better get to work here. couple of bolts in now, release that strap. Hey. We can, we'll put that other one away in a minute. We just use the fork, just back out. Hey, this cord for the camera, we had a short one. It's not in the cab. You don't remember anything about that, do you? Were you on this job when we put the long one on? I kind of looked in the box. The stuff in that box. I didn't know if you remember. No, it's not on the old back. It's not in the chopper. I didn't know if you would remember if we didn't use the short one. All right, so we've got that all on there, and we've got the other pipe put away. There I went to. Welding on the bin here. We've got to do a couple of things, and then we're going to get back into helping her here in a moment. So Nathan's working on some manure pipe stuff along with Jared, and we ended up having to replace the load boom on the frac tank. It got thin up top. The elbow was shot, so Jared bought a new one. Welded an end on the new pipe, and now what he's going to do is he is going to weld an end onto this one. Now, this one here, he's going to use for a load pipe off the front pit. This is a little thin, but it's about as thick as what the original pipes are. The pipe that he put on here the other day was about a 1/4 of an inch thick. You want a Sharpie? Yeah. Alright, so that's what he's going to do with that. He's going to cut that guy off and throw that end away. That's had a fair amount of duct tape put on into it just to seal it up because it was making a mess. Alright, Sarah's got this rear panel all tack welded in. What we're going to do now is we're going to grind out that little clip on that other side there so that we can cut the rear piece. We're going to cut it a little shorter, however we're going to stuff it underneath this piece here. I'm going to put it underneath, but we're going to make it a little shorter. So that's what we got to do to the rear piece. What we're going to do now is we are going to set this other piece in that I cut, and then that's going to take up the crack that we have in the bottom of the bin here. So we'll go ahead and set this guy in there. I'm going to get that in there like that. I think I'm going to send a couple of bolts through it, or I could stand on this, Sarah, and then you could tack weld it in. So we'll get that sanded down, and then I'm going to cut the piece for the back, like I was saying, and grind that other piece off. pretty good. All right. Glasses fog up. All right, we've got that removed. We'll go ahead and jump out of here. We're going to hold this rear piece down for Sarah. She's gonna weld this one in while we're screwing around with getting this rear piece cut. Alright, that's gonna hold that there. Now put one right. Alright, now I'm going to put my foot down on that and then put my foot there. And then you can tack those.
So do like 3 right here.
Yeah, get one just behind my heel.
Alex's trailer's got a blown airbag.
Alright, now.
Her trailer's got a blown airbag.
What about just, is she loaded?
She's here.
Yeah,
She offloaded.
Okay. What about having her just switch over to your trailer? No?
It's too much work. I don't want to do that. Then I gotta pull it down here and work. I gotta switch everything and then work on it. And I gotta pull it down here and work on it.
Here.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, there. So I'll give you a hammer. I'll push a hammer up through that hole where your foot is. And then you could just keep whacking this down. Like bend that down, bend it down, tack it, just keep moving all the way across. I might be able to put a C-clamp on that too.
Okay.
So. Okay. Alright, I would get a nice good bead back here, Sarah, on this back side
Yeah.
of this first one. And then you could tack it down here, the two together. I will get a clamp. I'm going to clamp this, I'm going to clamp it here, and I'm going to clamp it there.
Okay.
And then you can weld it, tack weld it to there,
Mhm.
and there, and then put a little bit here, but nothing to this one.
Okay.
And then we'll bolt the piece over the top
Okay.
and get that in there. this can take some over in here too, and then we'll just fill with silicone. Well, Sarah has got these pieces all in there. We are going to put this little plate that clipped over the top of this piece in the back. We're gonna go ahead and put that right back on there. Gonna go on there like that. We'll have her tack weld that down. And then we'll bolt our V piece, the piece that V's over the top. We'll bolt that in there. And then we've got a couple more spots that we need to weld down, and then we could start throwing our augers in. I want her to weld this seam all the way through here on both of these, and I wanted her to wait to do that until we had our bolts in. So we'll go ahead and get this secured down, and we'll wrap this up. That's pretty good. Get one more out on the end towards me, yeah, and then we'll bolt our piece in. Alright, now just send your welding cable down to the floor, and we'll put our piece in, put all the bolts in, then I'll have to send your welding cable through the bearing holder hole. Oh, whoa, hey, that felt good, huh? Now, what bolts are what here? Where'd these big ones go? Oh, they went in up above, didn't they?
No, I think it's outside.
They went in up above. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Then there was another piece that went on the top of that. Right?
Here's this. You find my gloves up there?
Yeah.
Here's this. That piece of square.
Where in the heck are all the rest of the carriage bolts?
Pry it off.
The carriage bolts were only on this one side.
There wasn't any carriage bolts in here?
No, those were.
Missing, or?
I don't know what was in there.
You guys can come back.
I think. What was on top of it?
So these, that many what? 2,
So
6, 8 left?
the carriage bolts were on this side. And then these ones were on that side.
We'll put that on
Okay.
there. And
Well,
I think. Yeah.
yeah, but I got a round hole here, but I guess. I'd rather put carriage in the whole thing, just so that auger don't hit on nothing, you know? So,
But then isn't there something that goes on top?
yeah, there's a piece that goes on top and then it bolts to there. So,
You have other carriage bolts?
where is that piece? Is right there. Grab that, will ya?
Oh.
It's just that top piece. That one and then the other one. And this. must have been turned.
Yeah.
It was turned that way. No, it had to be against here like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is how it was. Like that. I've got 2 extra bolts. So I'd like to get all of these here tight. How did this go?
I think it was flipped. No. Yeah, it was that. It goes up over, I think. I don't think it goes behind.
Yeah, it must have been. I think I'm going to have to put it in behind because of the thickness of this stuff. But we could put that in later. Put that in. So I'm going to have to hand you up a wrench. Okay. This is basically all fastened in. I've got a bolt missing right here. Sarah noticed another one down there. So we'll get that in. And then she's got just a little bit of welding left to do. She's going to weld this seam all together here. Maybe put a couple of more tacks in here. But other than that, that's going to be just about it for the liners. We are going to go and run the chopper over to Kaz now and bring some equipment back home. So I'll get 2 10mm bolts for that spot there, and then we'll roll on out of here. Alright, we have just got on to Route 20. It'll take us a little better than an hour or so to get to Kaz. We're going to be bringing back the 9560 and the 8320 and the corn planter. I don't know if I had done a video on when we went to Kaz with the corn planter, but I think it was 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago today. We took that over to Kaz, and they have done the updates to it. Oh look, there's one of Kaz's trucks right there. Mow and go service. So they have done the updates that they needed to do to it, and it is ready to come home. I would not be making this trip on these wet roads this time of year, but we haven't seen any salt in a while, and we have seen a considerable amount of rain. So any salt that has been on the roads here should be completely rinsed off. So we'll take our little field trip here, and then we'll get back and weld on the old combine. I'm kind of excited to throw them augers in there, you know, see how nice they look. And yeah, we'll get that job finished up, get it rolled on out the door. So we'll touch base with you once we get over to Kaz and get separated and get making our trip back home. Okay, so we are just about to Kaz. Sarah has managed to successfully get us to our destination. Well, we're not entirely there yet, but we are almost there. Got a fancy line of green equipment all lined up right there. Oh, they got a 9620R parked right out front. Yes'm. Alright, so we're gonna get this parked up, and Sarah's gonna take 9560 home, and I will take the 8320R along with the corn planter. It looks like they have both units running. I don't know, we passed, this is not the same truck, but there's one of the lawnmower trucks there, utility vehicle trucks there, pulling out, making a delivery. So they've got the 9560 parked right there. They've got it running with the heat on, getting it ready to go on back. And then we've got the 8320 right on over right there. Why don't you go, I don't know if Jake wants this inside right now.
Oh,
he's right there. So, you guys have been asking about Jake. He is the service manager, and alright, he wants you to put it right there.
Right there.
So he is the service manager, and he has been working behind the scenes of all of the goings on with the actual work that gets done here. So we're gonna go ahead and get this parked up and head on back to Navarina. So, see, there he is, right there. All right. All right, so they've got this work all done on this. They ended up doing the axle bearing on both sides, and they did the brakes on this as well. So everything is all back together. She's gonna run this back, and we're gonna run the 8320R back with the corn planter. So it looks like she's gonna pull on out of here. Everybody's been asking, where's Jake? Well, he is the service manager here. He runs all of the behind the scenes actions here that go on at Kaz Equipment. It's too bad we don't get to see you on these videos, but everybody's seeing you right now. So
I'm still here.
yeah, he's still here. So excellent guy, and these guys couldn't be any better. So she's gonna end up going back with this, and we're going to run back with the corn planter. Everything worked out great with this, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they ended up rebuilding the steering cylinders on this as well. We ended up doing them
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and they thought it needed it again, and they had everything apart. They did the brakes on this as well. This has got the double reduction axles on it. A little bit different than what we ran into on the 9320 a year ago. They did the axle bearing on this side and the axle bearing on the other side because they had everything all apart. They had to take the final drives off. Well, you had to take the wheels off of both sides to get the axle out of there, and they ended up doing the bearings on both sides because they had the axle out of the unit. Smart thing to do it. And they advised doing the brakes now, and I said, yeah, that is a great idea. Let's do the brakes. These brakes were quite a bit different than the 9320.
It's a single brake in the center. It's not brakes on each outboard. It's
a little different, animal. So I think she's ready to go back, so she's checking social media here. All right, so we're going to touch base with Jake for a minute, then we're gonna head out as well. So she's gonna head back and we're going to hit the road as well. So I need to talk to Jake here for a minute, and I'll touch base with you guys once we get out on the road. So they've got all of the upgrades made to the corn planter. Now you guys ended up increasing that from a 12 row to a 16 row.
Yes, sir.
That went pretty good.
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, everything looks pretty good on that. I haven't actually seen it yet, but
Yeah, let's unfold it.
you want to unfold it? Yeah. All right. You gonna jump up in there and do that?
Have you unfolded it with the new monitor?
No, I have not. So this unfolds a little different than the 12 row. It's a little different, but they ended up adding 2 more rows to each side, and this is going to unfold right from the actual monitor.
So put in neutral.
They upgraded our display here too. This is a 5G display.
Just let the hitch down a little bit first.
So this is unfolding all from the display.
Yeah. And the unfold, you switch it to your wing fold. Same control, same SCV number 1. Make sure it's a neutral so it doesn't break any pins.
This is not unfolding from the fold box anymore. It is unfolding from the 5G display.
No, I did move that skid steer a little bit. Not sure. Well, let's not go all the way yet.
I think it'll miss it, won't it? I think it's gonna miss it.
Yep.
Very nice. Now we are ready to go into plant mode. Now we're going to put it in the road transport mode. Tractor is in neutral, so it is rolling itself forward.
Wing wheel lift.
It's about as automated as you can get. All right, so I need to have a little discussion with Jake here for a second, and we will join up with you guys on the way back home here. All right, we are just coming into Pompey Center, and we are slowly catching up to Sarah. Jake advised that she only run at about 16th gear because John Deere had said something about the gudgeon bearing and that it needs time to kind of set itself, and that maybe you shouldn't be going all that fast down the road until it kind of gets broken in. So I thought that being that the roads were wet, I thought that the planter would have a lot more overspray on it than what it has, but it's actually doing pretty good. The roads are a little sloppy because it has been raining. However, the planter is not too dirty. So Sarah was tickled to be able to get her tractor back. She would like to take it into the shop. Of course, we can't get it in the shop till the combine's out, and do a full detail on it. Prior to it coming over to Kaz, it was on the spreader, which she wasn't too happy about that. And I can't remember why we had it on the spreader. Something that happened to the 9410. I don't remember what. Maybe we put it on the spreader just before we got done chopping corn or something. I forget now. But they had it on there, and then Jared went down to move it from one farm to the other and noticed that left inside wheel was all covered in oil. And I said, well, if that's covered in oil, the axle seal is obviously gone, and there must be a bearing rolled out of it. And sure enough, we put that right onto the trailer. I trucked it over to Kaz, and when they took that apart, you could very carefully lift up on that axle, and there was a little bit of play in the hit. So they did the bearings on both sides because they had the differential completely out of the tractor. We kind of talked about that here just before we rolled out of Kaz. So we'll get this stuff back to the farm. We'll rinse this planter off, and then we'll get it put inside here for the winter. Everything looks very good on it, and it is a full upgrade from what we had. So we'll join up with you when we get back to the shop. All right, so we've got that all parked up and put away. The 8320 and the corn planter, that is. Nathan had to come over and help me move the other corn planter out of the way with this tractor. So we've got that inside, and we are going to head back to the shop now. So that is gonna do it for this video, and we will catch you at the next one. Right, Nathan?
Right.
How's old Nathan been?
Good.
We haven't seen you in a couple of videos.
Yeah.
You've been just like staying away from the camera and all. Do you have any thoughts for today's video?
Not today.
Not today. Oh well. Alright. Well, that's gonna do her. Take it easy, folks. We'll catch you at the next one.